One of the big wins that I would say is that, I think we delivered 3 or 4 sessions out of our AI bootcamp um, that we're doing with our clients training. Um, it is definitely has been very useful to us internally and to our clients because now we're a little bit more in line. And the way we've designed it is where we deliver materials for an hour and we left an hour of free discussion among these people from different industries and let just we talk about AI and what they're doing with AI has been very productive. We're also in discussion with one of our government contractor clients over 2 of our IP applications that our team built with AI that we're trying just to take these mainstream. So we have a second meeting today with that joint venture partner. Hopefully we can take one of our 2 products that we developed that uses local AI. Both of our products are designed to depend on local LM Studio and Llama to basically handle stuff with your own data sovereignty and not have to pay cloud or whatever. And the goal behind this to be very niche, serving the defense industry and the compliance industry in that regard. So we'll see where that will take us, but we'll keep you guys posted if we see an opportunity for us to take that to market and see if we can basically sell these products out.
That's awesome.
These 2 products for a long time now.
That's awesome. That's a great win. We haven't connected after April workshop. Any progress after April AI workshop?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually engaged with IT by Design. I think one of your team members, Lee, is awesome. This guy's a superstar. We've been working with them doing an AI assessment for our first client, and coming towards the end, we have one more meeting that we're looking to schedule to actually come up with an assessment and some agents, and our clients are super excited and happy. Trying to build on top of that momentum, we're engaging with 2 other clients, doing something similar in terms of an assessment proposal, and trying to help see how we can make our clients more efficient, give them better value, better ROI. On the subject that you mentioned, Sandy, in the beginning, in terms of trying to pick out an August training, this year, I don't know how many team members here are part of the ConnectWise Evolve peer group, but this year that training is the same week as the owners group. If next year that you guys are doing, if we could coordinate it when it's not, I think it would make it much easier for people like me to attend. Yeah,
100%. And we have it was unknown for us when we picked our dates for this year. And Peter Kajava, he's a good friend of mine, Arlen, they all have been coming to our conference, and I'm like, hey, can you please share next year dates so there is no conflict? We already have the dates, and it happens to be in the same week, even next year. But now we are proactive about changing it. So we're working with them to change it to remove the conflict. But I'm glad that we learned from this year and creating a better future, learning from our past. We will take one more win. I'm excited about having a special speaker today. Before I introduce him, we will take one more win. Anyone? Before I pick Javid.
I can go. I've got one.
Go ahead, Darryl.
Thank you for saving me, Darryl.
I can never tell when my mic is working on this thing. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So this week we had 4 new leads come in, and instead of having them come in through our website, they actually came in through AI. One of the first things I do when I talk to new prospects is I ask them, how did they hear about us? And all 4 of them gave me a different AI that they used to look us up. And so one was Perplexity, Gemini was another one, ChatGPT, and Meta AI. So I don't know what we did to get our stars to align with the LLMs, but 4 people calling in 1 week is pretty amazing. And I closed 2 of them. It's a $6,000 project, so not too bad.
That's so awesome, man. The AEO is the new SEO, and whatever you have done so far, it seems like it's working.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because normally people say Google or referral or something, but they were actually naming LLMs, which is nice to see.
Yeah, I think it's all about the content and the context. So it could be, I see that you are very active on LinkedIn, so you're sharing your AI thought leadership, and you probably are listed somewhere where LLMs are looking for that information, including Reddit. Reddit is a great way. We learned during the last April AI workshop, Darryl, you were there as well, that like I think Nick and his partner Jason, when they presented like what needs to be true for MSPs to start getting inbound leads from LLM search. So the prompting normally, like Reddit is a great way to kind of get those leads, listing your, like maybe being part of some conversations there, and where you're basically adding your perspective. And so Javid, before we introduce our speaker, can you share, like we both were part of this AI Thought Leaders Mastermind, and you gained some new insights, just kind of in a nutshell, being an AI native company, can you give that perspective, what we have learned, how to be an AI native company?
Yeah, a few things is what we extracted from there. You know, one, I validated one of my thinkings that, a few weeks ago we had a service delivery kickoff, and I told everybody, hey guys, I want to see AI in everything you do right now. We gotta do it all smarter, faster, cheaper right now. And the immediate response is, hey Javid, I want my cloud access to HubSpot and to Halo and to all of our tools. And I freaked out. I'm like, guys, I can't give you access to everything. I don't know how to check what you're doing. So then, I came back to and I said, Sonny, we need a data lake strategy. We need to implement a proper data lake that's going to allow everybody to get access to data that's supposed to get access to, and stop burning out all these cloud tokens and deploy our own LLM and train it so that we can manage the costs and ensure or reduce the hallucinations that we're currently experiencing. That was really the essence of what we heard last week. That is going to be the way that MSPs and SMBs are going to be evolving into now. It's basically AI-powered platforms managing your business. And I've seen a few different iterations of that already, where it's going to move past, hey, let me just plug in this little agent to optimize and run this one workflow. And rather now I'm going to have a platform that is taking all of my data, consolidating and chunking it, structuring it, and then giving people access to it to, number one, do queries and question it. But then secondly, they're going to then be able to build agents on top of that because everything's connected. It's going to be in one central data warehouse. And that really validated our thinking. And I think that's important for us as the MSP community to be aware of that now, because it was all agents, and I thought, hey, agents can be the future. I've had a number of people tell me agents are nice short term. It's going to be the AI platform that businesses are going to run. And that was my message to Sonny, that Sonny, we got to buy or build one out quickly before so that we can get a nicely positioned in front of Microsoft and they buy us out for it. Because that is really what I feel a lot of the AI developers are doing right now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Javid. So one of the demonstration there was like having master agents. Just look at that agent as your chief of staff, and then that chief of staff agent is basically managing other agents.
Yeah. What I can do is, I've been seeing readings about the second brain concept. Are you guys familiar with that at all? Second brain. So LLMs tend to have very, very bad long-term memory. They're good for very short conversations. What happens is, you have enough conversations with them or time passes, and it tends to restart the entire conversation. Very, very prevalent with Claude. So what I've seen people doing now is they take Claude code and they plug it into an Obsidian database, and they upload their documents, their SOPs, their marketing materials, their business profiles into Obsidian. Claude agents will go ahead and refine the data and take out what it needs to and organize it into a database, sort of structured database for you. And then now you can take that Obsidian database and have all your employees take their Claude connected to the same database and start to use that as the one central repository, in essence, bringing your own data lake together. I created a little PowerPoint I can share with you guys. It gives you guys an overview of what that looks like.
You are the guest speaker next week.
I was trying to get out of it by sharing a PowerPoint slide.
Package everything that we have learned in 3 days of AI Mastermind, and we can share that learning and thinking with this
Absolutely.
group.
Happy to.
And one more resource that we can share, Shifali, if you're listening to this, is so I'm part of this abundance community with Peter Diamandis and Javid, that podcast. So they talked about this in March during their annual conference, but then it's all about like what they are talking about, and it's real. Like the way they kind of really structure this framework and everything is organizational singularity. And normally Peter is like 10 years ahead. Like what we are experiencing today, he was predicting that 10 years ago. And I think it's going to take that progression. It will be moving towards, world is moving towards more of AI native foundation and AI native thinking. But that's a really interesting podcast. So if you listen to his guest who have written a lot of books. So to that point, so before taking a lot more time here, so my dear friend Sagar, he is part of our Build It community. He's our special guest speaker today. He's one of us when it comes to MSP business. He built his MSP based out of Chicago, then sold his business in 2023, built a very successful business. And so he has that entrepreneurial background, entrepreneurial journey that he experienced. And now after selling his MSP, he is building an AI company and now doing a lot of trainings for small, medium-sized companies in terms of culture training, the mindset. Because the biggest challenge normally is the culture, how you align everyone with your vision and your strategy. And when the quote, we all have heard about that quote, that culture eats strategy for breakfast. And when you can get your culture right, you get your people aligned with your AI vision, then other things are byproduct. So Sagar, welcome to this weekly call, my friend. Thank you for committing to the session today. And over to you, my friend.
Thanks, Sunny. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the time this Thursday morning or afternoon, depending on where you are dialing in from. Really excited to hear about the wins today from an AI perspective. I love the MSP community. I'm an MSPer at heart forever. So seeing the shift happening from MSP to MIP, the managed intelligence providers, it's been incredible to see that journey. Thank you, Sunny, for the introduction. I'm going to share some slides, which you'll get a copy of these after. But really what we're going to talk about today is something that I've noticed in the must be around 50 different mid-sized, large-scale AI implementations that I've done over the last 3.5 years. And I wrote a book on this. I'll send everybody a link to a digital copy that you can get for free. But what we noticed is that so many conversations in AI are so focused on the technology, right? Javid, like data lakes and LLMs and training models and second brains and all these things are incredible. And everybody on the call is so capable of the technology part of it. But when you go into organizations and if you ask people that are not leaders or owners of the company, what is their perspective? What is their thought? How do they feel about AI and disruptive change? It's a very different conversation. it's not as exciting as all of us like to think it is. So the topic here is you can build it, right? Build the tools, build the AI. Can you get people inside of your clients' organizations to adopt it and to use it? And I found that work to be very interesting. So what I've noticed in all of the AI implementations we've done is, we are, as technologists, we understand how everything should work, right? What tools, what vendors, and it's because we live on the bleeding edge. We are already technology savvy. All of us clearly just second nature understand LLM, tokens, reasoning models, security, implementation. But our clients and their staff, this is like a fire hose of information. And if you think about it, all of the staff at our client organization, they read those crazy headlines from Sam Altman and Dario and Demis that say knowledge work is probably going away in 2 years, right? So they're all freaked out about it. No one asks them these questions on how they feel this disruptive change is going to challenge their identity, right? Because people inside of organizations, they've spent how many years acquiring knowledge and worked really hard to move up the corporate ladder inside of their companies, only to be told that so and so MSP is going to come in, they're going to implement an AI tool that's going to do their job in 12 seconds. Everyone's not excited about that, right? And there's not a lot of that dialogue. So what we've noticed is when we go into any client organization, and something that you may take away from this conversation is that whenever we address the culture, right, whether it's a lunch and learn, whether it's just a conversation, whether it's an AI training, and we give people a safe space to ask questions, the adoption part, which happens right after, becomes so much easier because now you have an organization and a culture that's aligned with the change that AI is going to be bringing. So just understanding that people are just at the start of their AI journeys, that we're all living on the bleeding edge, and giving them the opportunity to think about what it means for them in their roles inside of these organizations. And we know as of today, Javid, I was so happy that you shared some of the insight into the platform building. And I'm so glad you said it's not about the agents, it's about the platform and the data. You are so right, because anybody can go on Lovable, anybody can go on Replit and put together an agent or some type of AI functionality. They can vibe code their way into doing something, right? Now, ask yourself, is it sanctioned and secure and governed? That's a totally different conversation. But everybody has access to the tools, right? So walking in with, agents and markdown files and, skills, everybody has access to that, right? So it's not so much the delivery of the work. It's more so how the work will impact the organization. So we have to go in with this mindset that we understand how things happen inside of these organizations. How do they execute on workflows? What's some automation and some repetition that can be implemented that takes away the drudgery of work, right? Not necessarily replace people, but augment them and assist them so that they can continue to become better at what they do. So really what I've noticed as the moat inside of my AI consulting practice is that I don't lead my team and we don't go in with just our capabilities technologically and the tools that we use. We go in with being the consultant and the advisor on how to change the way people think about AI, and then how we can replicate and take away some of the mundane work that they're doing. So as you can see on the screen here, it says changing how people work and you cannot be ripped out. We all know, and I lived this life for 15 years when I built my MSP. Anytime some other vendor would come to my client and start whispering things and telling them things, now I have to, on the next QBR, defend on whether we can provide that same service, right? So we don't want to allow others to then say things for our clients because we want to be the ones that do that. So this mentality that I'm telling you about, which is the cultural impact, it means really pulling and changing the way that you work. Instead of going in and just leading with technology, how can you go in and be a culture advocate? How can you measure what your clients' staff are doing? How can you create the safe space and allow the employees of your client organizations to ask questions vulnerably, right? Because lots of people have egos. They don't want to look stupid in front of their colleagues. So giving them a safe space where you don't judge them, there's no bias, there's no sensational headlines that everyone's going to lose their jobs and we're all just going to be sitting at home not doing anything. So thinking about that mentality, I can guarantee you when you talk to your clients and the leadership and the owners that you deal with, when you come in with that mentality, that is like a sigh of relief for them because they themselves have no idea how to address this friction that's happening in every company across the world, which is that AI perspective is negative and that it's going to come and disrupt people's ability to earn income, and it's going to disrupt their ability to grow and excel inside of their organizations. So the sooner that all of us become that type of culture advisor, and you're more of a thought leader and a thought partner, you're no longer just an MSP. You're now a business partner. And you have just an unlimited amount of opportunities when you shift that mindset so that the client naturally thinks of you as the individual that's going to help them solve this cultural challenge. So what we do that allows us to be successful, we've noticed that companies can spend thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Javed's example of the second brain and the platform. We can spend 2 months building the most amazing AI system, all these agents, the best governance, right? The most capable open source models trained on proprietary data, right? We can have all the MCPs and APIs deployed. But if the organization's people don't trust it, or they feel like that it's going to threaten their job, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. It doesn't matter how sophisticated the AI tool is. Nobody's going to use it. They're not going to adopt it. They're just going to resist and hesitate. And I'm sure all of you have read that circulating study from MIT that says 95% of AI initiatives and pilots fail inside of organizations. Some of it's true. Some of it is sensational headlines, in my opinion. But their whole point was you have to measure what needs to get done, and you have to address the perspective and the way that people think of AI. You can't fund your way into that. You can't build your technology into that. So don't sell the build. You want to score whether people can absorb it, whether they agree that AI is not a threat to their jobs, that AI is not a threat to their identity. Because if AI does the work that they spent 15 years acquiring knowledge to do, who are they anymore inside of the company, right? So you become more strategic. You become a thought partner and a business partner, not just a vendor, not just an MSP, not just an MIP. You go much deeper than that. So what I wanted to just quickly give all of you, and Sunny, I know we had talked about some breakouts, but a quick way that I address this with customers, feel free to screenshot or wait for the slides, use this anywhere, send it to whoever. Really just think about one customer that maybe is in your pipeline right now that you're about to have a QBR or a TBR with, or maybe just a conversation, or maybe they've already reached out to you and they said, hey, Sagar, we're thinking about doing some more AI work. Can you help us go down this conversation? And I know the initial reaction is, hey, sure, we got all these AI tools. Tell us which one you want. We'll train you. We'll integrate it. We can do all these great things. Before we jump into technology solving mode, really just thinking about one customer. And this is a tool that's out of my book, the AI Culture Blueprint that I wrote, which is, can we score the capability for our clients to absorb AI successfully across the organization? So the first question is really one person besides the owner, who wants this stuff? Is it Sagar, that's the CEO of the company, just went to a conference and they're so AI excited. They have all these notes and they're coming back to the office and they're saying at their next weekly staff meeting, guess what, everybody? We are now an AI native company. We'll call Javid and the MSP and let's do some AI work. If it's just the CEO and the ownership and the rest of the team just is not even ready for this stuff, the adoption is not going to move forward because nobody's going to be forcefully using a tool that they didn't agree with in the first place. So that's number one. Number two, we have to model AI usage. It can't come from frontline staff or interns or finance people, ops people, marketing people. It's got to come from leadership. It's got to come from C-suite, CEOs, CFOs, COOs. They have to model the behavior that they expect the rest of the team to follow. I can't tell you how many times we've gone into companies and the CEO says, yeah, I'm going to assign the AI project to, my director of operations. I've never used AI myself. I'll figure it out later. Who are the employees looking at when this implementation is happening to see if they are aligned with what's actually happening in the organization? It's the CEO, it's leadership. So the leadership has to model what they expect from their employees, and they're not the ones that can avoid it and address it at a later time. The third part is really this number one question that every employee in an organization has, reading all the crazy headlines and everything that's happening. Why is the organization going down the path of AI? Are people's jobs at risk? Are they going to have less opportunities to earn more or maybe get promoted in the organization? Is AI going to be a replacement of COGS on the P&L? Are we going to reduce labor or maybe cost optimization for staff? Is that the reason? If not, what is the reason? And can the C-suite and the leadership address it so that people don't wonder? Because that wonder is what creates the friction and adoption. Doesn't matter how sophisticated the tools are and how amazing they are. That fear is what stops the adoption from happening. Number 4, one repetitive task. You all know this. There's a lot of mundane, repetitive work that your clients and their teams are doing on a daily basis, right? And lots of organizations, they don't have good standard operating procedures, playbooks, run books. They can't even articulate a process. If you ask 5 people in the same department, you'll probably get 5 different answers. So how can you, as their partner, help them articulate what they're doing that's very repetitive? How do you remove the drudgery and the mundane execution of something that is not really exciting for people, right? So is there a task that people would gladly hand off? And if you can articulate that in like a 2-page document and then apply some AI technology, whether it's a chatbot or an agent or a platform or anything else, makes it much easier. And it's like a ta-da moment for the clients, right? To be able to document that. And then lastly, what's the longevity of AI tools? There's a lot of hype around this OpenClaw stuff that happened earlier this year, right? What happened to OpenClaw? Are people still using it? Is the hype still there? You can ask people inside of organizations, and they say, yeah, it was good for a month, and it became challenging, and there's no long-term use case that we feel comfortable moving forward with. So when you go and do these deployments, if you get the cultural alignment, is there an internal AI council or a group of people that are your clients and not you, that meet on a regular basis that can ensure that the AI momentum continues to move forward so that your client doesn't spend a bunch of money and time and then 45 days later or 60 days later during their next QBR, you go and ask, how's the AI tool usage? And they'll say, yeah, we stopped after 3 weeks and it's just sitting there, right? How does it make us look then, right? When we go in and say we're going to solve these things and nothing happens, we have to make sure there's longevity in this. And it can't be only from all of you on this call. You can't be the energy source for AI adoption and AI culture. It's got to happen within, because I think it's unreasonable for all of us to have to carry that burden on behalf of our clients, right? Because their client staff is not going to fully trust the providers, especially if they've never interacted with you, right? So you got to create that internal momentum that allows individuals to have the ability to move this forward. So I hope some of the stuff that I shared super high level today just build some perspective for all of you. Since you're on the forefront and at the front door of AI usage, your clients are coming to you because they have a trusted relationship with you already. And I know our default is always to lead with tools and technology and all the amazing capabilities that we can do. But I will tell you from experience, the last 3.5 years, the employees at our client organizations, they are really freaked out. Nobody's asking them how they feel. They're quietly just resisting the tools that are being purchased and implemented. So if we can address culture, you become the heroes even more, because now people willingly want to adopt. They seek you out. They look at all the emails and the information that you share. They show up, they participate, and it just creates a much better relationship so that the long-term impact of your client is owned and maintained by you as an organization. So I want to end with yes, mostly yes, build it now. That's great. That means your client's ready. If these answers are mostly no, set up a lunch and learn, have everybody in a conference room or put them on a virtual call and ask them, what are you afraid about? What's the biggest fear around AI? What are some ways you're using it? Let's work together as a team. I would guarantee you're going to get amazing adoption after that.
Awesome. Thank you, Sagar. We can stop sharing. Yeah, we can have a few minutes of Q&A. We are about 800 people company, and I'm sure that you have clients where they are struggling with adoption, people buy-in, their alignment, and we had to do a lot of hard work in the last 3 years now, and still every single week is that, saying the same thing 7 different ways, 7 different times, and having like a lot of forums built internally, and still we're working on alignment, helping people with their fear, uncertainty, doubt, their job security, and because the way they look at AI opportunity is very different. So thank you, Sagar, for sharing. And this is a really, really important topic for our own MSP. I know, Jeremy, you have a huge organization, and I'm sure you have a perspective on this and your challenges, your wins. But we all, if there's one thing that we can do right, align our people, build that AI first culture, security first and AI first culture, then everything else will take care of itself. Do we have any questions for Sagar?
Yes. Sunny, this is Sarthak here. I have a question. Sagar, first of all, thank you so much. This was a very important and a wonderful presentation. You mentioned something in the very beginning of your presentation, as it pertains to the cacophony around technology adoption and the sort of exponential rate at which one might perceive automation to progress, where a significant portion of knowledge work, this is what is being purported, that a significant percentage of knowledge work is projected to be automated. Now you mentioned something very interesting, that more than technology adoption, one should think about the edges and the ancillary aspects that are relevant in adopting technology. And my question is actually along those lines. What I have seen personally is that with more sort of tools coming into the market, and with with our MSP sort of looking at different vendors, incorporating tools and using it in our stack, what I have seen is that the relevance of knowledge work hasn't really cratered. It has become more important, because the vertical expertise that you need to sort of fix all the ancillary aspects around the AI and around the technology has actually gone up, in my opinion. So just wanted your additional perspective on that. How do you think we should look at knowledge work at this current moment in time, as it is relevant to culture? Because I think that the importance of that has gone up, in my opinion.
Fantastic. Sarthak,
Yeah.
agreed, where our clients have never been busier with the AI tools that they're using. I always like to position this as AI assisted and AI augmented. And what AI today cannot replace is judgment, taste, and the ability to make sound decisions for clients. So you're totally right that knowledge work is still going to require a practitioner, a technician, or an expert in any domain or vertical to then know where they need to look and where they need to execute. And that's why I'm always I laugh at when they say knowledge work is going to go away. The AI agents are just glorified text predictors in this moment right now, right? LLMs are very non-deterministic. They hallucinate. They don't have good evals. They don't have good guardrails. So just unleashing some agents inside of our organization with some playbooks and expecting them to deliver and execute at the same level as a experienced worker just doesn't happen. We all understand that on this call, clearly. Employees of our client organizations, like Sunny mentioned, they don't share that same perspective. They just read, Sam Altman says knowledge work is done by end of 2027. Yeah, it's pre-IPO. The guy's trying to get token usage, so he's going to say those things. So it's our job to walk into organizations. And Sunny, I think your point on doing this for 3 years and why it's still a challenge, because this is an ongoing practice. It's not just something you say once a year and you're done with it. You have to give people opportunity to understand what is AI's capability and where does it fit in the organization and what does it mean for them? If you can dismiss that naivety and that lack of knowledge of how the tools work, startup, I think that opens up a door just to create much more implementation and longevity because people understand what we're doing. When they wonder and read headlines, they make their own judgment and their own preconceived decision and they resist. So we got to have dialogue. And the more conversation you can have, the more safe spaces you can create. That's where AI adoption really takes off, is when the team is aligned and they're excited and they feel safe to do this stuff.
Thank you so much, Sagar.
You're welcome.
And Jeremy, how are you thinking about this thinking?
I think some really, really valid points here. I think one of the things even I miss sometimes when we automate, like, a couple years ago, our dispatch workflow, right? And replace 90% of that with AI and RPA. When we were doing that, we were thinking, all right, we can reduce this to just a couple people to handle the edge cases, but no, you need to assign those resources to the QA process, right? That's what we miss a lot is, allocating the appropriate resources with the appropriate training to be doing that QA, that human in the middle to a certain extent. So that's one of the things I push. We logically have really gotten past that fear from last year of, is AI going to replace me? But we've also kind of like sponsored the fear of, if you don't get on board with AI, right, it's going to be a challenge from that standpoint. Really, the masses have adopted it. I've been the most impressed with the folks that are like the major adopters. They're not always your engineers in building apps, building workflows, things like that. It's folks in accounting, folks in finance. Hell, we on our SDR team, that's a very entry level, making 1,000 calls a week outbound. Really entry level folks you bring in. One of the gentlemen on that team is probably our most utilized engineer, and we've moved him into building AI and automations for clients. Like, you get surprised once you kind of open it up a little bit, but you've got to have those guardrails in place.
Jeremy, I'm glad you brought that up. What I talk about in my book, those folks they're pessimists naturally. They want to kind of see the proof before they admit that it's working. Whenever we go into organizations, if you can convert the pessimists to advocates, they are the ones then that share that message internally, right? So I'm glad you brought it up. Account managers, SDRs, folks that are not technical. It's incredible when you see the shift, and I'm sure you've seen it with your clients. It's just the momentum that it creates has been just wonderful, right, to get the adoption going. So totally agreed on everything you said.
Any other question?
Sagar, I had a question. This Sanjay Khosla. You're talking about adoption. How do you go about the training aspect of it? How are you structuring training? Is it different for different parts of the organization to come to this adoption?
It's incredible what you can do, Sanjay, with an hour of time and some pizza or sandwiches in a room. Okay, I know I made a post on LinkedIn last week. I said the number one key to AI adoption in organizations, lunch. So to directly answer your question, there's two ways to do this. One way works better than the other, and you'll understand why. The first way is typical training where people watch you share slides, you share experiences, background, Q&A, and people absorb information. That's just typical training. You can segment that by either function of the organization, or you can have leaders or whoever's interested in having a conversation. That's the first way. The second way, which requires a little bit of planning, we host hackathons for clients and for their staff. So they all come into a space, whether it's their conference room, if it's a larger company, we're remote, or we get a big space and they fly people in. It takes some planning to do. People bring their laptops. And of course, the IT departments or the MSPs are given a heads up on this. They bring their favorite chatbot or favorite LLM. We just did one a month ago for EO Chicago, which is another entrepreneur group I'm part of. We did it on Claude Cowork. 115 people in the room. Everyone is like building, typing, and doing things. They brought their key execs. Of course, you have to think about security and safety. Don't plug in a chatbot like Javid said to your data without governance. But the hackathon mentality where people build stuff, the residual effect of that has been probably 50x compared to just the regular training. People know how to prompt by now. You don't need to show them that. So I think just having some time, some lunch, maybe some laptops, letting them do hands to keyboard and try stuff. The first couple times they do it, they're nervous and excited. But once they get the hang of that, that is the momentum that you need to allow things to happen. So hopefully the way I'm explaining the two in my experience help resonate and give you some ideas.
Anyone else going out there with the QBRs? I mean, you're doing QBR for your customers, and you are seeing the challenge of the business owner, the entrepreneur, your end customer, in terms of AI adoption. What are the challenges that you see? And I know, Ahmed, you are doing a lot of client conversations. Is there anything that you are sensing and seeing in the marketplace?
One thing is, Sagar's point is very valid. A lot of focus on the AI tools, not much focus on the problem. That's what I'm trying to do. My analogy to clients is say, if your approach to tell me I have $1,000, how can I spend it? I guarantee you're gonna spend it because your focus is how to expense that money. But if your focus is, I have this problem and what would it cost me to do it? It could be 100, could be 1,000, could be 100,000, but then we'll have a lot much more levers to pull around to make sure what's really making sense to invest here. So when you come from the perspective of what can I do with AI? What can I do? What can I do? Then it's just like you have $1,000. What can I buy with it? Exactly. And then the whole mentality is shifted in the wrong direction. And adoption is bad because whatever you did is just some flashy fun thing to do, just like the OpenClaw hype and other hypes out there. But when I have a problem in my business and I'm just going to my Roots team and say, hey, can you guys build some automation for this, or to my N8N team and do something with that, and something that we were doing manually. Like I'm just going to share one win. We have an automation that helps us with RFPs, and then eventually what we fell behind on is we start having more RFPs than what our sales team can actually submit for. So eventually we tweaked how we could basically get our RFP responses 85% ready without a human touching them, and then get our non-sales team, our ops team, to basically get it up to 98%. And then we just come and finish it up with that human final QC, and then just get it bounced back to the operation team to send out the RFP responses. And what it did, it just allowed us now to utilize AI to source opportunities and then use AI to nurture the opportunity contents to a good level and then move it. This came from a problem that I'm actually not submitting on time. I'm missing deadlines on RFPs because there's more coming in than what our team can focus on with other sales channels. So then when you do it from that perspective, then you have, as you said, Sagar, that's an augmentation of what you're doing. That's basically something that you were incapable of doing with your current human cap, that you're able to now achieve with basically AI assisted work that basically augmented the capability of that human base. It just help your client focus on the problem. And whether they do it or you do it for them or somebody else, it's not an issue. There is an AI way to do something, but first of all, start with the wishing, not with the genie.
Man, I'm glad you shared that. Two things real quick for the group. Number one, when I did have my MSP before we sold, we started selling AI counsel facilitation. We charged clients $1,500, $2,500 a month to have them identify 5 to 6 people in the company that represent a good mass of thought. And we met with them once a week or once every other week for an hour to talk about things that cause pain. And I define pain in 3 ways. Number one, you exactly described this. Number one is it takes too much time to do something. That's painful. Number two, it costs too much money to do it, right? Whether it's a very expensive engineer or lots of tools. Or number three, it can't be easily reproduced. So then your outcome is different every time. So if you could be that facilitator and help your clients not just focus on the tech, but what are business problems? What's like a thorn in their side? What's a painkiller conversation versus a vitamin? That opens up doors to opportunity and adoption. And Ahmed, I'm glad you brought that up because RFPs are a big source of pain for lots of organizations. How can you listen and absorb first, get alignment, and then recommend tools that can help solve it?
Thank you. Thank you, Sagar. So Sagar, you have been talking to a lot of businesses out there where they have a training need. And what we have been practicing and preaching with our AI Accelerator members is like, if you want to start with one thing, start with the AI training for your customers. What we have seen in the marketplace, and I have shared some examples without sharing MSPs' names. MSP's customers are coming to us that I'm looking for AI company where they can train me or they can help me to think through AI. And when we talk to them, hey, who's your MSP? And then the name that they mention is our customer. We normally don't say yes to anything, but that's where it's a little bit more kind of, we get into a conversation with them in a way that we want to help them, but we want to help them through their MSP. So where I'm going with this conversation is, if you don't do this as a MSP, someone else is already talking to your customer. And the best way to do this is you being able to put something together, either an in-house training capability for your customers, or you partner up with someone. Because we have gone through that framework, what do you want to build, what do you want to borrow, and what do you want to leave alone. With the AI trainings, if you can just do that simple, basic mindset training for your customers, you're positioning yourself as a thought leader, you're positioning yourself as a transformational company where they don't need to go to another AI consulting company to get help. So my question there, Sagar, for you is, if our friends here, our group here, they're not doing AI trainings for their customers, they want to basically ask right questions from their customers so that they can at least go to market with AI trainings, and they can do it in-house, or they can partner up with people like you. What is that one question that they can ask during their conversations with their end customers?
Easy question. What AI tools are you using today, customer? What tools are you using? If they're OpenAI, great. If they're using Claude, great. Gemini, great. The unsanctioned AI tool usage, Sunny, is happening in every single one of our clients today. They just may not be aware of it. So asking that one question, what AI tools do you think the company's using, or what are you using today? That starts the entire conversation. Because then you can just say, okay, well, let me tell you why OpenAI may not be, or ChatGPT may not be as good as Copilot. Let's do a quick training. Let's have a conversation. It's the door opener.
I just want to add one tip to this group, which had worked well for us. We announced, and there are many tools out there, so I'm not going to focus on the tool. I'm not going to even mention the tool we're not proposing. But there's a lot of AI DLP type tools that are browser-based and whatnot that you can deploy as an MSP. You can deploy them with a waiver method to your client base as an added security, and say we care about your AI, your shadow AI stuff. Deploy that out there in a monitoring mode, which your clients charge them or include it in your seat price, whatever your budget is. And then what it will do, you will just meet with these customers and say, what AI you use? And Sagar says, oh, we use OpenAI. Oh, so you're not using Claude or Perplexity or Comet Browser? No, we're not. Oh, okay, because your AI DLP suggests otherwise. We actually have just uncovered that using these other 7 AI tools by these members in your organizations. And most likely they're using personal accounts. They're most likely using accounts that We're not at a stage that we're blocking things because I don't have an AI acceptance use policy yet for you. So I don't know. I don't have the governance for me to track. So would you be interested in us just helping you build an AUP and then building an AUP, then train your team on it? And then we can just turn that AI DLP tool now to just to block what's not with outside of your AUP allowance to just get a grip on your AI. And it just generates a lot of projects, but also sets you up as a subject matter expert there. So just to grab a tool out of the market, and there's so many tools out there, you guys all have probably been approached by many of them, but that would be a good approach for you to have a lens inside your organizations that you serve to be able to find out more information about that.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, I just threw up our academy side. If you guys wanted to grab some of these topics as well, that could be useful for you to do a lunch and learn, as Sagar said, and other things, and maybe some topics that you could steal from these sections inside of our acceleration bootcamp.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed. And Sagar, if you can also share your contact information in the chat or any link where people can learn more. And any last message, because I do have an invitation for this group before I share that. Sagar, closing remarks.
Very excited that everyone is thinking about AI. It's at the front door. We have to be stewards of knowledge. And if we can do that inside of our client organizations, we are going to be very, very valuable for them in this next shift that's happening.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Sagar. Appreciate your time today, my friend. And everyone, August 3rd, 4th, 5th is Build It. You know, if you've been to Build It, how passionate we are in terms of building communities, and Build It or AI, building AI community is our key focus from last year or so. You have been to our quarterly sessions, you have been to our annual sessions. So this year, August 3rd, 4th, 5th, we are bringing top AI thinkers, thought leaders in the channel from keynote perspective and the breakout. So here is a QR code. I hope you can see my screen. If you have not registered, please register. It's going to be in the New York City area, Hudson River. And this year theme is Extend Your Thinking. And we are challenging everyone in our community to extend their thinking in terms of where things are going. With AI, a lot of focus on AI and cybersecurity this year. And we are also creating experience with New York Stock Exchange. So one day, one evening, we'll be at New York Stock Exchange. If you have never been there, it's on your bucket list. Just like last year, top of the World Trade Center bucket list was done for a lot of people. This year is going to be New York Stock Exchange. And I'm just going to go to, so it's a 3-day program. 2 days is more conference, and third day is AI Accelerator workshop. So Monday is going to be main stage breakouts. Tuesday is going to be main stage breakouts, and third day is AI Accelerator. And the way we have designed our AI Accelerator this year is for Q3, it's going to be full day in person on August 5th, and then 4 virtual sessions, 2 hours per week. And that is included in the overall conference pass. I'm coming down. So you can buy just conference pass, or you can buy conference plus the AI Accelerator workshop pass. And I will go to that piece. So here is the code. Where is the code? Right here. So this is the conference pass, and you can do this QR scan. We will send an email with this slide as well, but here's the QR code to scan and register for the conference. And here is conference plus the whole AI Accelerator program. And if you have not registered, please register for the conference. We are very, very passionate about giving back, sharing, caring, building that Go-Givers community, and we invite you to come join us in the month of August. And I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining.